Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's SEO question and answer session with Mr. Chris Palmer. And don't forget ODYS, the sponsor of my YouTube channel. If you're interested in age domains, done for you affiliate websites, and want to basically get an affiliate project off the ground. It's a great marketplace, and you might want to take advantage of aged domains, not the same as expired domain names, slight difference, but check them out. You get $100 just for signing up, which you can use against buying one of their domain names. So check them out. But other than that, we're here to answer your questions, as many of them as you can possibly throw at us.
Yes.
Anything digital marketing related, put it in the live chat. Please do leave a like and subscribe on the video. Always appreciated as well. And Chase is here. Chase, rock and roll. Making money using automation. Good to see Chase. Osborne Digital Marketing, the legends are back. Hello, Marco. Good afternoon. Trade FX. Doing his nosy. Good to see you. Akhtar Sayal. Hello, Akhtar. Hope you're well, buddy.
Sayal.
Ask any questions you want. Boom, give us whatever you've got.
Yes.
But whilst the guys are joining and all that kind of stuff and getting their questions together, what is new, Chris? What's been happening in the past week? Anything new, different? Any courses? Any crazy shit going on?
No, I'm just working on some tests, launching some new sites. I think I'll start doing some of the affiliate stuff this week. I think what I'm going to do, I'll start this week. I want to do a new project. I think I'm going to do it in the group. So do like an affiliate. I think I'm going to go for like VPN hosting. We'll start like starting up that process. I think that'll be a lot of fun. But other than that, I launched another 100 sites, working on like JavaScript and jQuery stuff, trying to figure that out, doing some tests. And laying out some of the building blocks for my talks. So I think that'll be fun. Like trying to think of what would be really cool, you know. That's all. Like if I was sitting there and I was gonna say, "Oh man, that's good." That's the stuff I'm trying to, you know what I mean? Like I want to be able to, like, "Oh man, that's good." Like I could use that. That's the stuff that I want to give.
Yeah.
Yep.
You've always got to offer value and coming up and do different things. So yeah,
I'm excited. You know, I get to roam around a little, so I get to leave my little cubicle here and venture out into the world. It'll be fun.
You know? Yes, it's always good to get out and get some fresh air away from the dungeon,
for sure.
as we call it. Chris Alec is here.
Hey, Chris.
Ali, CK, however you pronounce it. Good to see you, Chris. Trade FX, Craig, you just said it's better to manually do internal linking. If the site gets into hundreds of pages, it might get messy. Maybe Chris has a view on an organized structure. So I don't think Chris can come up with some automated, like obviously we were talking about linked whisper and stuff like that, Chris, just to give you a bit of background here. Obviously, TradeFX wants to build a big website and all that stuff. Now, yes, you can use linked whisper, and yes, it's automated in a lot of cases. Does it get it wrong, is my argument. Yes, it does.
For sure.
Now, if you're building a topical cluster, now let me just share my screen. In fact, give me a second just to pull up the slides. Just so that it makes sense to anyone who's listening to this, because topical clustering and shit like that is stuff that people get wrong so many bloody times. Now, there is no tool on the planet that can automate the way that an experienced SEO is going to look at this. Now, internal linking and topical clusters. I'm not going to say they're the same thing, but they kind of are to some degree. Now, what is a topical cluster? Let's say, for example, this is the core topic podcasts. And we've got all of these kind of sub-articles surrounding podcasts, such as comedy podcasts, dramatized podcasts, self-help podcasts, and so on. Now, these are hyperlinked or internally linked to the main podcast page, building a topical cluster. Now, there's no tool on the planet that can do that accurately or efficiently. Building a topical cluster, building this stuff manually, getting a VA to do the grunt work is really important. It would be wrong of me to say, just stick with Link Whisper and it's going to spit out the right information. It's not. Someone's manually going to have to go in and edit that. So that's why I would say, map out your topical clusters. If you've got the right process, you give this to your writers and stuff like that at that point, so that you don't manually have to go in and do it. So that is where potentially restructuring your SOPs and processes would work. That's my take on it, Chris. Do you have the tool that can do it all properly? Because you would save so much fucking time.
I don't have a tool that does that. No. I think laying out there's not much to say there. You pretty much nailed it. It's really mapping it out before you start the process, and definitely having somebody to sit the time, because that's going to be madness. But I would get it right from the very beginning. I would have a clear understanding and idea of exactly the pages you're going to create and the structure that your site's going to flow through. So what else can I say? No, I don't have a tool.
So yeah, I think maybe Chris is a view in an organized structure. Yes, organize it at the start, do your research, do your strategy first, and that is all part of the processes and training or SOPs that you give over to your writers, and make sure that they pick up the grunt work, because I certainly wouldn't be sitting doing it manually. And I don't, as I've said, I use Link Whisper, but in a perfect world, would I be doing it better? 100%. And as I say, when you're advising people of the best approach to doing it, sometimes it can seem as if that's the most long-winded way to do it, but sometimes someone has to do some actual manual work, unfortunately. I am sitting rubbing my hands for the day that someone can fucking automate a lot more of this shit. That's why I hang around with smart guys like Chris who like all that kind of automation and cheating and all that stuff. So
that would be a heck of a tool to take what Leo did, that structure, and then have it like almost auto. I feel like that's on its way, though.
I think we're probably a few years away, to be honest. I'm pretty sure, in a couple of years' time we'll look at it, but how accurate would it be just now? People are trying to do it, Link Whisper and so on. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, Kevin McGuire, good to see you. Gotham, good to see you. Daniel Waits. Hello. Terry Power.
So Terry,
good to see you, mate. Hopefully catch you in America when I'm over there, Terry. I'm coming to Rockstars again in November. I'm going to be over there in September as well, so I want a pint. If you don't know Terry, people, check him out. Great guy, doing some great stuff. Hopefully we can catch a beer, Terry. TradeFX, get those guys to do a little bit more. It's just about the processes. Get them to do it as part of their job. It shouldn't cost you extra money. Get them to do it as part of their ongoing work. So that's on you to make sure that happens. But hey, you can certainly create a process for it and make sure that happens.
And be prepared to go through that. Some people think, if we make a video, that'll be it. Yeah, all right. You'll be spending time with them. Trust me. So I mean, you can't just, it's not that easy. You gotta literally, yeah, you can make the videos and you can make it really good, but you're still going to have to sit with them. You know, almost all processes that mean anything you're going to have to spend some time with them. No matter how good you map it out.
Yeah.
So just be prepared for that. Prepared to, when you're handing off work, be prepared for a lot of extra time for sure. Yeah. It's not as easy as, oh, I made a video. Here you go, buddy. Good luck to you. No way.
No. I need to do something quickly before I forget, Chris. Danza Kudrow. I'm taking a photograph of your name. Live IRL fans been in here for fucking years. And no one knows who he is. And we're like, dude, reach out to us. Like, fucking talk to us. We want to talk. Because obviously he's got a big thing for YouTube SEO. Got his name.
That's the guy?
That is him. He's just confirmed, Ayo, this is me. Unless I'm being trolled, of course. But good to see you, mate, anyway. Harish has a question. Is it better to publish blog content before the product or service launches in prior months, or have it ready at the time of launch? What is your opinion on this, Chris? Because, again, talking to people, we're always going to have different ways of doing it, but would you wait for everything to be ready, or do you want to get out the traps quick? Just get shit, get an index, get an age, build some links to the homepage, blah, 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 blah. Curious, that's my approach, but what's yours look like?
Exactly, as fast as possible, but I wouldn't be in a massive rush to get out a ton of info content first. I'd want to get the essential pages laid out first, get those indexed, get links to those. And I wouldn't want to be too much leaning towards informational, especially if I'm trying to push out those, that product or that service that you're trying to promote. So, yeah, I would come in running from the door for sure, but I wouldn't go too heavy on all the blog content, not first, because I don't want it to be seen as an informational based site if I'm trying to push product.
Yeah,
I think you'll have a little bit of a struggle if you went blog first. Just my opinion.
I would agree. Get the essential stuff out there first. Get the money out there first, and then build
your supporting for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, throw the money out first and foremost, because we're all here to make money. End the story. Let's not kid on otherwise. Terry, curious to know, and I'll DM you after this. We'd love to have you speaking at Underground if you are coming. It would be absolutely criminal not to have you speaking if you were in attendance. So let me know if you definitely are coming. I can put you in touch with Paul, the organizer. But it would be amazing to have you speak at that rather than sit there as an attendee. And the reason I say this is Holly Starks once turned up at a Charles Floats event in Birmingham, SEO Birmingham, and she wasn't talking. And I'm like, fuck, like someone like Holly's just sitting in the crowd, and I'm like, you should be up here, sharing some shit, Holly. Like,
give up the tapes.
Yeah. So, and I think Terry is the same. We would want to be pulling a bit of knowledge from you, Terry, if you're there. So let me know if that's a possibility or something of interest. If you want to just turn up, chill out, have a few beers and meet the UK crowd, that's also fine. But it would be wrong of me not to chance my luck. Anyway, Daniel gets so overwhelmed when it comes to planning SEO. You guys get any advice for keeping track of things? So we all know, Chris, launching a new project, maybe even just scoping out the strategy. Is there anything you can do for keeping track of things, or do you have a kind of, I don't know, something that can help Daniel here? Because it can be overwhelming. Overwhelming.
It can be overwhelming, but you're probably, just with this question, I'm assuming like everybody knows the foundation and what you have to do. You're probably laying out a spreadsheet, or maybe you're using ClickUp. Your brain's working faster than how things progress. So in knowing that, just keep working your plan and have patience. It just feels like it's overwhelming. It's just you against you. So plan out your work, whatever you're using, your ClickUp, your foundation. If you're doing stuff that's repetitive, sucking your time and not bringing in dollars, then you start hiring out. Hey, I need help with this, like stuff that's really bogging you down, because that, if the vision isn't clear enough, that's when you start feeling overwhelmed. So lay out the plan out the work, have tons of patience. And when you find yourself doing something repetitive and it's not bringing dollars in and it's driving you crazy, you can't sleep, hire. So I assume you're probably doing the right steps, but slow your mind down. That's probably what's happening.
I think part of my journey, Daniel, just to give additional value here, is I set up as a guy working from home, like most of us do. I then went on to hire an office because I hated working at home. I then hired a sales guy. Before I knew it, I had a content writer and a web developer. And before I knew it, somehow I had a fucking business with all these fucking people in it. Now, I don't mind telling people I wasn't a businessman at the time. It was thrust upon me, this shit. Now, I ended up suffering and having to get medication for anxiety because I became so overwhelmed with being a business owner, being stuck in the middle, doing all the shit, trying to be the control freak in the middle and all that kind of stuff. I can't emphasize enough what Chris said there. See if you find yourself getting stressed out doing something repetitive, outsource that shit. Your job is to work on the business, not in the business. So the fact that many of us, including myself, gets thrust into this shit, and before you know it, you're doing fucking everything. You're doing the content, the link building, the invoicing, the sales calls, the fucking works. I've had the conversation with Palmer off air. Palmer's like, dude, what the fuck? Dude, you need to start fucking delegating. You know, we have conversations off air and we're like, dude, like, what the fuck are you doing? No, you're not answering your phone. You're fucking not answering your emails. You've got no time to talk to no one. So that's all on top of you supposed to be coming up with some strategy. One thing I'll say, Daniel, is you cannot perform to the best of your ability while you're under stress. You can't think straight. Now, one last tip. I was at a SEMrush kind of training thing a few years back, and they had this guy called Dave Allen, who is an American dude who wrote a book called Getting Things Done, which is on Amazon. Now, Dave's whole thing and whole talk, this is the condensed version. A human being can only hold 4 things in his brain to do. So Chris Palmer can only hold, go and buy links from so-and-so, go and fucking get citations here. Once you start adding a 5th, a 6th, a 7th thing, shit starts to get fucking stressful. Now, that's when you start to forget things, miss things, all that kind of stuff. Now, Dave Allen very much talks about apps and shit that will give you tasks and stuff like that. So you've got task manager things or you've got CRMs and stuff like that. These are things that you have to do to manage your time properly. But more importantly, clear your brain because you need to declutter that brain so that you're being creative, so that you're productive. So hopefully some of those might give you some food for thought as well, Daniel.
That's massive. Clear your brain so you can stay creative, because if you're not creating and building, you just stress and you just get crazy, man. So that you hit the nail on the head, man. That's
when I spoke to you or you know at the start, and you know, what have you been up to this week? Oh, I'm just, you know, chucked out 100 websites and I'm going to try up some of this shit and jQuery and all that stuff. That's creative. That's trying shit. That's what I want to hear. You know, if you're sitting going, fucking hell, Craig, I'm caught up with all these calls and I'm fucking stressed out, you're like, shit, dude, you're doing it wrong. So
yeah, I agree. That took 4 months to sort out, you know, like it was craziness. I felt like my guy here, man. You know, it's like, what do I do?
So we've all been there, Daniel. It's not fun. Jordan is talking about building a tool like that after his GMB or GBP tool is done and launched. Good luck with the launch, Jordan. If you want me to give it a shout out, give me a shout, mate, because I know you do good work whenever it is launched.
Elena, I want to see that. What's Jordan Pierce building? What's that tool? Where's that at? I want to see that. Where's that at, Jordan? Where do we go to get that? You got one buyer. I want to see it.
Glenart is asking a backlink question for local business. What do you think of buying lower DA links and hooking them up to my Yelp and BBB listings, and then buying higher DA links and then hooking them up to my own higher traffic web pages? You ever do anything like that, Chris?
I think it's mandatory to feed cheaper links to your citations, press releases. Yeah, I think that's great. I would, you're buying a citation, 20 cents a piece, 10 cents a piece per listing. So it has to be something that's significantly cheaper to produce in order to power that up. And plus, whatever types of links you're pointing at, Yelp isn't going, or BBB isn't going to harm their site. So as far as like paying, $5 or $10 a piece for low DA links or whatnot, I don't think I would do that. I'd be looking for high volume, exact match anchors like a GSA or SEO autopilot or something along these lines, comments, image links, this type of stuff. Yeah, I love it. And then as far as what was the second piece of it, and BBB listens by to my own higher web pages and higher DA links. Well, I think I would change the metric. Take a look at trust flow and DR when determining like a barometer of quality as far as for your higher traffic sites. Just up the metric. I think that those types of barometers are looking at things a little differently. So if it's something high quality and you want to look at quality, then look at quality. That's what I would do. Hopefully that helps you, huh?
Is Chris coming to SEO Underground?
Yes.
He has said yes, so I'll go over and fucking drag him, because I'm coming from America straight to Underground. So if I need to stop off wherever this guy stays, I'll be fucking coming and dragging him there. So
I'm gonna
go. Chase the legend, great tips, Chris. And Chase says he didn't start making 100 to 200k a month until he became hyper focused on one thing. Now, again, at the start of my SEO journey, and I'm pretty sure you're going to validate this, Chris, how many times have you tried to launch 5 or 6 or 10 projects at one time because you think, oh, fuck, I've got this great idea. Oh, I've also got this, I've got this, I've got this. And all of them are actually just shit. There's not been enough time focused on the one project. Is that something you suffered from as well?
Tons. Yes. That's why the delegation of work, because you have the idea, but you have to put time in place. So it stinks at first, though, at first until you get funding, funding, time costs money. So, but that was a valuable lesson. If this helps anybody, buying time doesn't cost money, actually, though. That's it really doesn't, because you're able to produce, you're multiplying in the, your efforts. So I've learned that the hardest way. Buying people does not cost money. Produces dollars for sure. In my opinion. It's something I have found. You just start adding people, man. Like, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this, and then ching, ching, ching. So much better. Yes.
Look at this guy, though. Stephen Buchanan. Are you calling yourself a heavy hitter here?
Nice. What's the shirt say? Smash the... I'm not sure. Smash the something.
Smash the... I don't know what the fuck it says.
No, I can't read. It's too small.
My eyes are... Danzo, our live IRL fan, says he spoke to someone in the music industry who's doing really well, working with big artists, and he gave him all the info he already knew, but he didn't mention anything on CTR. His strategy is just to go viral, build a community, and use ads on different platforms. But he has a service where you pay him to promote your music by putting your major songs in playlists and running ads. So whatever works.
Sounds like a viable solution.
Yes. Actor, which is better, SEO or social media marketing in the up and coming years? I mean, the scope in future for both. So, Chris, hand on heart, I know you're an SEO guy. I'm an SEO guy. Does your social, your YouTube, and everything work better for you than your SEO?
It's
good.
Well, I think it's both. It's not this or that. I think it's both. it's not a pick. They work. It's like an orchestra, you know. They just work so well together. So and for every other business that we work with, so it's not this one or this one.
Yeah, I think you can't dismiss any, and I'll tell you the reason why. I spoke at an affiliate marketing conference where most of the people there were paid media buyers. They were just buying up traffic and shit like that. They didn't know what the fuck SEO was. They're just like,
Right.
what the fuck is this shit? Now, they can make money in paid. Yes, people can only make money doing social media marketing. Yes, you can. But you're missing a traffic source, a very good traffic source in SEO. So never be ignorant to it. I think what the only one other thing I can say is diversify your traffic streams. Make sure you're getting traffic from, there's guys that are absolutely killing it on Pinterest or Reddit or whatever. I don't know where Palmer goes, but I'm pretty sure, he's got sneaky little traffic sources there going on and all that kind of stuff. So, it's crazy not to. So I think you've got to embrace it and try and tap into them as much as you can.
Reddit, yeah. Those little Reddit groups, ads are cheap. I like Reddit. I like Reddit a lot, actually.
But when, not if, we get 200k hits, I'm personally flying South Africa's best stripper over to Glasgow. My wife can hear me talking. So,
speaking of strippers, I saw a gentleman on a boat in a TikTok the other day. That was pretty funny.
On my boat?
Yeah, on your boat.
There was no stripper though.
No, it was a guy. It was funny.
Oh, you talking about Gary when he had the bra on?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an old video, dude. That's an old video. Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny.
My SEO mate had his mum's bra on my boat, and yeah.
He's like Gucci to the socks and then just jumps up, takes his shirt. Yeah. It's funny, man. It's funny. It's good stuff.
But we spoke about it the night before, and I'm like, let's make something. He went, what about if I bring my mum's bra? And I'm like, dude, I'm not sure that's right. Like, what the hell? But hey, it was fun. And Trade FX. Wait a minute. Flavia, good to see you. Chris is coming to SEO Underground by hook or by crook. He will
for sure. I already negotiated with my girl. Like it's sold. I got 3 things I want to do. I'm going. I'm in. I'm locked in.
Nikhil is asking, does using expired Tumblr domains pass any authority? He checked out some of the Tumblr domains and pointed to Chris Sir's website, but the P was very low. So, Chris, you're using expired Tumblrs. He's just outed you. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I built some of those. I think I had 2 of them. I built those in 2016. Yeah, when I was doing some Instagram services at that present time. Yeah, I was using them. And by now they probably are pretty low. I have never. They're fun. But it's only one. It's still just one link, It was a learning experience. Definitely had some fun. Yep.
Nico,
you can have those if you want them.
Nico, I'm not claiming to be the best SEO in the world here, but I'm certainly in the top 1. And what I would say is I have never, ever used an expired Tumblr. That's all I'm going to say. Garbage. So I wouldn't be looking to that stuff to pass any real power. Is the thing. By all means, play around with it and all that stuff. But
they're fun.
Yeah, but that's my honest answer from me. So,
6 years ago, yeah, I created those a long time ago.
I mean, I might have played around and bought some gig or whatever, but yeah, I've never bothered my ass. I've seen people talk about it, but
yeah, I'm not seeking out to build those. Maybe for fun, like to play with, but it's not like, okay, step 1, optimize heading tags. Step 2, get expired tumblers. Step 3, no.
So Saeed Zihan is having problems getting his new website indexed. and he's asking again how to get it indexed. So I can't remember what we replied to before side, but how new is the website? Because what's new? Is it 2 months? Is it 2 days? I think that's something. But Chris, if you've got a new website in general, is there a process, a tool, or a sequence of events that you do to make sure that shit gets indexed?
I mean, generally, if it's going to be a brand new site or a new page, I mean, I assume that you're making sure that the content is at least legible. It's, there's at least, is there 1,200 words? Is there 1,500 words? Is there actual content on there? You're not like messing up and maybe have like some type of no index or something, like you've checked the code, like you didn't maybe mess up something, right? That could happen. But then I think after that, adding it to the XML sitemap, creating the HTML sitemap, submitting your sitemaps to both Google and Bing, and then submitting for crawls, then do the ping, mobile search, and then the rich snippets test. Generally, the pages will be seen when you go into Search Console. They might not be indexed, but they're seen, not indexed. And if that's what you're seeing, then I would go back in and make sure that you have your internal linking set up properly, maybe add some more content, tweak the heading tags, and build a link or two, And right now you're probably going to be having trouble at, we're launching some pages. It seems like there's some type of, there's something up, I guess maybe an index. It feels like
an issue that
I think there's going to be an
update. I seen Charles Float having a pop at John Mueller, who confirmed there is a fucking indexing issue, and
there you go.
There is something going on there. It might not necessarily be down to low quality work or whatever. It may just be, just give it a bit more time. So I know that's painful to hear, but if there is an issue,
it's funny. I figured there was like an update going on or something. I'm like, damn, these pages are giving me a hard time. I didn't even see. That's funny.
It's I've seen people talk. I think Barry Schwartz released something on it as well, and people are complaining that even when the GSC submitting your URLs is fucking broken and all this shit. So there's something funky going on, and it's not you side is the main thing to note. I think it's more of a Google problem than anything else. But pages are still being indexed out there. It's not like they're not, but just be patient, man. But as I say, I don't know what new means. Is it 3 months? Whatever. So if you've been waiting 3 months, you're going to have to go back and check shit out and tweak, as Chris said. So
that's it.
Flavia, if you put a Fiverr gig to tier 1 links with GSA, is a buffer site also necessary? Or if the links are strong, like CNN, we can send them directly to the link to power up and keep them indexed. Thank you. So
I mean, here's what I've noticed. So, you can take it as it is. Like if there's already an existing backlink profile and it's sites that I didn't buy, like off of somebody that I know, or like I don't have something like it's just links that have been accrued. I generally want to power up the weaker ones. Like the probability of me sending GSA to say a CNN that's, a DR, 90, like how much more value am I going to add to that link? Not much, but if I send it to a DR5, now we'll get a little bit of a push, right? And I'm just using DR as a way to gauge. So with that being said, do I think it's necessary? And would I send it from Fiverr? I don't know, man. You might want to curate your own list. Maybe buy it, send it into something, and then clean up that list before you go blasting that out. Man, I hope that helps you. Yeah. I don't think it's necessary. It's not necessary. No. And definitely, I'm not going to waste sending out a bunch of links to something that's high powered. Like GSA is not going to power up a CNN link.
Yeah.
I doubt it. So.
No. Definitely not.
Yeah, no.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Chris, do you know anyone? Does any of us know how to create a good?
Yeah. Hey, man, I got a great list for you. Yeah, I might actually do one. I'll do one for you guys here coming up. I'll do one live off the top of my head. We'll do like I don't know, 200 or 300 points or something. I'll just do it off the top of my head.
But just in case you weren't aware, the whole Chris and Olga thing has all been sorted, and everyone's happy, and they've shook hands and all that stuff. So
yeah,
hey, it's all sorted and over and done with. And shall we say, the best thing, just because I know we'll always get a wee niggle, but check what your VAs are doing is all I can really say. And again, going back to what the fella was asking earlier, sometimes you get too busy and you just fucking don't have time to check shit, and you just hope for the best or whatever. And mistakes do happen. So, but yeah, that situation has all been sorted, and everyone is friends again. So.
moving on.
Move on.
Good question, though.
Yeah.
I'll have something coming up, though, for you, LinkedIn user.
I was waiting for it last week, to be fair. I was waiting for it last week, but that is the first.
Yeah, I had to lay down for a week. Yeah, it took a little. But everything seems to be good, so that's good. Moving forward. Lessons. I always learn mine the hard way.
Done it myself, so no judgmental stuff from me. But Stephen Buchanan is just a goldfish in a big pond. If you lads ever need a hand with your business, just hit me up. I'm happy to help both of you legends out.
Thanks, Ronald.
Cheers. What is it you do, Ronald, out of curiosity? I'm always looking for things or whatever, depending on what you offer. But yeah, it would be good to know.
He's a business guy, business consulting.
Oh, do you know Ronald? Yeah.
I mean, I know him from talking to him. I haven't been to his house for dinner, I've talked to him though. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Good. Not just curious, as to what you do, because you never know when you need someone's help. That is the thing, and we always need help, all of us. Elias, great. Maeve, how are you? My favourite Brummie staying in Ireland, or my favourite Irish staying in Brummie, one or the other. Clint, a data centre caught on fire. Could that explain the indexing issue? I'm not sure. But hey, there you go. Clint says it, and Clint is a very trustworthy individual in our industry, and fair play. Heinrich, good to see you. Kevin McGuire says Google's been screwing around like this for over 9 months. The only way he's found it works is throwing a decent backlinker to a page. Links are going to help. Essentially, that is part of what Google's bot does. That is not going to harm you in any way, Kevin. Great advice. And so, yeah, it's always a good tip, Kevin. Trade FX saying hello to Heinrich. Nikhil, after building Google Drive stacks, does using Fiverr backlinks to help boost the authority of the Drive stack?
So I generally just use GSA. So if you want to build the links in, that's perfectly fine. If you want to use a Drive stack as a link hub, that's fine. But I wouldn't rely solely on that. I mean, it's junk in, junk out, right? So they make a great hub, But yeah, you just get some. It looks like you need to get GSA. You'll have a lot of fun with that, man. Or SEO Autopilot's fun, but I like GSA. You'll have fun with it. It's fun to use. It's a lot of fun, actually. Then you could buy your lists off Fiverr. Upload them. Then you could make your own little. You could take away. Oh, there's 100 outbound links. I don't want that. If it contains this word, I don't want that. You can make your own little lists. Go through, buy all the lists, extract them. make it a .sl, upload it, make your own little filters, and boom, now you have something fun to play with. So get GSA, man. I think you'll really like it. For sure.
Chris, do you know what an SEO shield is? Don't Google it. No Googling.
I have no idea what an SEO shield is. I'm sorry. I don't. What
Tom's in my mastermind, and I think there was talk of a couple of guys doing some SEO shield, but he's trying to be funny and asking if it will help prevent attacks. But I wasn't aware of what an SEO shield was either. But apparently, I'm still not entirely sure what it is. But apparently,
sounds like an SEO guy made it up or something. Like it sounds like somebody's pitching something or trying to sell something. I don't. I have no clue though.
Yeah, I like seeing Chris's face when he doesn't know the answer. He's not done that though, and so that's always
you threw it in quick there. Like, don't Google it.
Nah, no Googling.
I was reaching for the.
We can't see what them fucking hands are doing. So Robert Prosser's here. Clint is saying DR is the domain. That CNN link doesn't have as much power as you think.
That's a valid
point.
You
should be boosting those. So obviously, if that link, you've got DR, which is for the domain naming, you've got UR, which is for the URL specifically that link is on. So, as I said before, Clint is a very smart, well-respected guy in the industry, and he reckons you should be powering those up. And I personally would use edits at something like that. Any kind of high-profile PR stuff I get or whatever, I tend to power them up just as a matter of course. So that's just the way I do things. But yeah, as I say, that is Clint's take on it. And as I say, well-respected guy in the community. So listen wisely. Heinrich, guys, what advice will you give if you redesign your already ranking website and change the content on those pages?
Don't change the URL. You know, I would make sure the H1's the same, and then have fun. Yeah. So I'd make sure the URL is the same. Make sure you have at least the same H1 there. At least it's pretty much the same exact page, except for you could change out the content, change the design. That's perfectly fine. I wouldn't muddy up the source too much, but make sure the structure is right, like the URL and the H1. Like make sure it's pretty much the same. I think you'll be fine there. That's my best advice.
I think for many years, I debated upgrading my website with the fear that I would lose traffic. And I finally took the plunge. And I'd done all the right practice. You know, I didn't change the URLs and all the kind of standard things. I really didn't see any kind of negative impact at all. Of course, I followed all the kind of best practice, tried to not move shit that I didn't have to move about too much. But I wanted to incorporate a better looking website, you know, and embrace, you know, the different things that are now out there. So, yeah, I think, you know, but I also feel your pain. I had the fear of change. I don't like change at all. And had that fear. I'm like, shit. And I also had the fear, Chris, from going from .co.uk to .com. So I started out with CampbellSEO.co.uk, ran it for a few years. And then I'm like, fuck. You know, I'm starting to speak at different events, you know, in America and all that stuff. And I'm like, why the fuck did you start out with a .co.uk? Why the fuck would you ever do that? But then I'm like, too much links and, you know, do this and do that. Obviously, one day I was drunk and I thought, fuck it. Let's move it all over to the .com. And very quickly, things were okay. So I did have a little bit of a thing with that. But again, tackle it head on. There might be little bumps along the road, but they're fixable. So,
did you 301 that directly into the homepage, or did you do individual pages, or to an internal page?
No, I'd done
UK to the com.
I done because I had links pointing to the
1-to-1.
Yeah, that for me that's always best practice. So
fair enough.
I had links pointing to certain different things and all that stuff. So, and because it was my own website, I was like, yeah, fuck it.
Right.
Just take the pain. So yeah, it wasn't me personally, it was one of my team. But yeah, we as a team took the pain to do it the hard way, but the right way.
At what point do you take away the individual redirects and just point it to the homepage, or do you leave it permanently?
I mean, I've personally left it permanently.
Okay.
Now, what happens every year is the SSL certificate expires on my .co.uk, and I always forget to renew that fucking shit. And and my website goes down, and people say, "Oh, Craig, your website's fucking down," and all that stuff. So the redirects are still in place, to be honest. And as I say, I'm not changing them. I'm not, I made that move and had no real problems. But I ain't fucking around now and pulling anything away just in case. And so I'd rather just pay for the SSL certificate, leave that shit going, and leave it as it is. If it's not broken, don't try and fix it. So,
For sure.
so yeah, I got out of it because I had the fear again with just making that move. So, yeah, I just thought, fuck it, do it and leave it and hope for the best more than anything. It's different when it's your own compared to doing it for a dude. You don't give a fucking shit, really. When you're doing it for someone, you're like, oh, fuck it, just do this and do that. So when it's for yourself, slightly different.
Cloudflare it.
Yes. Yeah. Kevin McGuire is laughing. Business coaching and consulting mate Ronald Goods. Always good to know that there's good guys out there. And Chris, nice. You're always welcome for dinner. Get nice. Round it, man.
I'm hungry too.
Flavia's asking, what's the best way to push up categories of products on an e-commerce website, Chris?
I'm not the best guy to ask. I'm not the best guy to ask for e-com. I don't want to tell you one thing. I'm sure I could give you something, but I'm not really, I'm not your e-com guy. Go ahead, Craig.
I mean, I think, when you're trying to push up category pages, do you build links to those? Do you use the power of your website and a good internal linking structure to point to those categories? People are going to give you all sorts of different advice, and none of it's really wrong as such. I think for me, SEO is SEO. So I'm not saying I don't like it, but people see e-commerce as something completely different. Yes, there's certain things that are slightly different, and you've got a page and a category page that goes into a product and all that kind of stuff. But a page is a fucking page. If I want a category of black shoes to rank, and there's all sorts of different styles of them, then I'm going to build links. I'm going to put content on it. I'm going to do good internal link and point to that page. It's no different than what we're doing now. Obviously, there are certain constraints when it comes to an e-commerce website, such as when you've got a category page. Do you want a whole horde of text on there, or do you want the customer just to see the products? So a lot of people are adding content at the bottom of those pages, or they've got, I've had fights with people going, Craig, we can't add content. So me as the SEO saying, dude, by hook or by crook, we need fucking content in this page if we want that to rank for that term. And you've got to negotiate between user experience and SEO, but some people have a snippet of text with a read more, which opens out more if someone so happens to want to click it. But make no mistake, if you want that category to rank for a competitive search term, you need your on page, you need that content, you need those links. You need to be driving traffic to that main category, and all the kind of other things that you would do in order to rank a standard page. So whether it's a blog post, whether it's a product page, or whether it's a category page, the methods are still the same. SEO is SEO. You're not going to get a different answer. Of course, as I say, there are certain nuances in there that are going to be slightly different, such as the kind of content thing and various other bits and bobs. But, build links at them, send traffic to them. That is going to help move the needle. Get better content on them if you can. And normally I see a lot of that content at the bottom of category page with all kind of different FAQs, which I know looks horrendous, but again, you could just have a small snippet, read more, and it opens it all out. So, yeah, I'm out of breath now.
Yeah, I I could have gave general. I really only had like one really good success with the ecom. Getting it off of Shopify was massively important for us. That's all I can say. Yeah. But yeah.
Anyway, Nickel has checked Jonesy's SEO drive stack, and I found that all the different stacks of different companies and clients are in a single email. Will Google not detect this? Is that something you think Google can detect? Do they even care?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, of course they can detect it. Do they care? It's a free product. It's one of their products. They want you to use the product. I think it's irrelevant.
Let's say you're doing a stack. Would you segregate that out and use different emails though for different customers? Would you do it differently from? I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong way, because I like Jonesy, he's a great guy. But just curious if you would do that, or would you change the approach?
When we were doing them, it was individual per client. We'd have them give us the drive, or we'd create it depending on how old the Gmail was, like how old the account was. Depending on if it could go public or not really is what mattered. So if they had an old account, I'd build it right in there. If they didn't, then we would utilize the API in order to create an older one. So we could have a public folder in it. So I'm assuming that he's utilizing that so he can have always have public. So they're old, so he just built them in there. But do I think it's going to get you whacked or get you cracked? No, I wouldn't be overly concerned. But it is what it is.
He's also went on to say one of his SEO clients using the drive stack is ranking locally with just a DA of 6, and others have a DA of 15 plus. Again, DA is not something that's a ranking factor as such. Is Jonesy doing better than what the competition is doing overall? Potentially. He is, and I wouldn't be worried too much about just the DA. If Jonesy can outrank someone with a DA of 6, fucking hats off to him. Why does he care? Like, so what if the competition's got a DA 15? That Jonesy's outranking them. So the proof's in the pudding there that Jonesy has done a better job. Whether that's using the drive stack, whether it's a combination of other things that Jonesy does. And there might even be secret sauce in there from Jonesy, whatever he's doing. Is it the drive stack? Is it something else? So when you're reverse engineering this stuff, you can't just look at the DA and say Jonesy shouldn't be beating him with a DA6, because there's probably some other kind of secret sauce in there that you're maybe not aware of or whatever it is. But that's my opinion on it. But Chris, what's your view on this comment?
I see that all the time. Like, just because somebody has a DA6 and the guy that has the DA40 is underneath them, that happens all the time. Like, what do you say? Like, it is what it is, man. I mean, that's pretty normal. Maybe that site's doing really good on page. Who knows? Maybe this other site is only strong with the links. But their on page stinks, so they're going to get beat. So I wouldn't be looking at DA, look at the overall campaign, irrelevant of who did it, and plus there's something called QDD. Sometimes people, like, I see that too. It's like, sometimes people just get lucky. Not saying that's what happened, but I see sites all the time. I'm like, the heck, how'd they get up here? So, oh, well, it's all good. Yeah. I'm sure I've taken a look at some of his campaigns. He's doing very well. So I'm sure there's a little sprinkle of sauce in there too. I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonesy's doing a grand job for what it's worth. So certainly, if anything, Nick will reverse engineer it a bit more. Dig around and see what you can pick up, because obviously if Jonesy's winning, try and replicate what he's doing. So yeah. Anyway, Flavia 301 redirect versus a page with text like this site was moved here. It will be more valuable and safe, thus says. The site is in the same niche. So would you do a 301 or would you have a page up saying this site's moved here? What's the most valuable?
I would 301 it, but I mean, just a page moved here and then what? Adding a link to the site? I would think that if we're talking about value and link equity, I think that adding a 301 from the individual pages going to the new pages would be the most valuable. And then the next step down would be another, like just the whole domain over. So yeah, I think that would be the most valuable. Yeah, just a link is a link. So
yeah. But you also just got to consider the user experience. You're giving a customer another click. If you've got this site was moved here, they've got to then go fuck and click again. Is that going to be off-putting? So you've got to try and make it as seamless as possible for the customer. Do what's right for the overall user experience. Is what I would be advising. But TradeFX, Chris, what is the funniest thing you have done testing Google rankings? Chris, you're not allowed to say the 00000 thing. What is the other funniest thing that you've done?
I'm playing. So I'm trying to do it with jQuery now, but like loading content utilizing JavaScript and the pages blank and getting those to rank. That's pretty clever. I guess that's funny. I don't know. That's pretty funny. It's a blank page. You're like, what is this? There's nothing here, but it ranks. Yeah, so that's pretty clever. Yeah, I mean, I would say that's pretty clever. It's a page of nothing.
Chris, remind me, I've got a question to ask you after this. Just that someone said you'd done some mad test, and I'm not sure if the guy got you wrong, but I want to ask you off air anyway, not for here. But I think in terms of funny things to do to test, I think it's difficult because you can get yourself into bother for some of these tests as well. Certainly some of the tests that I've done. So I'm not going to really comment too much, but if you Google Black Hat SEO Craig Campbell, there's a couple of videos out there where I've talked about a lot of different things that I've done playing around with Google rankings and making money online. And some of those tactics no longer work. Have I tried to take an unverified GMB off of people? Have I tried this, that, the next thing? Yes. Whether people find them funny or not, in most cases, when I've released information, I've got bloody stick for it. So that is why I'm going to evade that question to a certain degree. I think Terry Power was at my presentation at NFG Rockstars a few years back, and they actually edited out 50% of what I said because they didn't want the people that bought the videos to hear everything that I was talking about, purely because some of the strategies were working for people and stuff like that as well. I thought I'd be a wise guy and share it all, but again, I get the reasons why people would want to edit that shit out. So yeah, that question is more for offline TradeFX, because you never know who's watching here. Anyway, Thomas, the train toys and more. How long do the results last when posting to Holly's Google News Network, Chris?
So depends on the result that you're looking for. Which result? A ranking boost? Because it takes quite a long time after posting, because we only use the blast. So it takes quite a long time for Google to catch up to that many links. But we've only found pretty good success once you get past that initial 45 to 60 days.
I mean, Holly's not removing links from our news network or anything like that, is she?
I don't think so. No.
I don't think she is. That would be too much fucking hard work. So
I don't think, but I do think that, over the course of time, depending on how you created that content, some of those links are going to drop off, I would venture to guess, as far as like the scanning tools or like the third-party tools.
Yeah.
So like you build 2,000 links, initially you might have, 900 or 1,200 that show up, but then over the course of time, it starts to dwindle down. But other than that, now I think it's moving along very well.
And Clint says the JavaScript idea sounds fun. I'm just not clever enough to have a conversation about that. This is where it starts to get a bit freaky. but I do know, and yeah, I'll tell it because I think Holly shared this on one of my podcasts with her. Holly, a funny trick that I found funny that Holly done, and it includes JavaScript, is she would embed JavaScript around a link. So if she was going to get a guest post somewhere, or and maybe swap a link with Chris Palmer, she would give it and embed this JavaScript around the link so that she was able to change that link out as and when suited her. So I think that's funny. I think that's funny and interesting. But again, as I say, don't want to say too much. Not because we're being evasive, but purely because you get bloody hell if someone sees it and they don't like what you've said. So we'll leave it at that. But on that note, we are out of time, guys. Appreciate everyone being here. Do check out Chase, who kindly donated. Digital Ear, Clint, thank you for joining. Terry Power, and also thank you, Chris, for coming on and doing this. It's probably been about 2.5 years now, still going strong.
Yeah, it's fun.
So it's always fun. And do finally check out ODYS, but also check out Palmer's YouTube, Chris Palmer SEO, and SEOmastermind.org, and all the other fucking stuff. I'm starting to forget all the stuff, but yeah, check him out. He passes a lot of knowledge around YouTube, so get him from there, and I'm sure you'll be able to find him and hunt him down and use any of his services or join his mastermind or whatever it may be. But on that note, guys, we will be back next week, and same time and all that kind of stuff. If you can, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well, guys. But see you later.
See you the next one.